Okay, so we determined that the dependent variable, which is what we're measuring, the dependent variable is the number of moths captured. And then your independent variable was your time. What's the unit, class? You're going to put the unit in parentheses. All right. So now let's look at taking this data table that at first glance you can't really see any trends, you can't really see any patterns. It's hard to make sense of what these numbers are telling us. So what we need to do with data is we need to analyze this data, and the best way to analyze this data is to put it into a graphical form. Now the first thing that we need to do is we need to title our graph. All right. Now let's take about 15 seconds and let's think. What should the title of my graph be? And here's the one hint. Your title must include the independent and dependent variable. So Jessica, give me an idea of what a good title should be. And that would make it seem like the years are the dependent variable, like we're looking to see how long it takes to capture 10 moths or something. It's actually reversed. Yeah, Kayla. In 1 year? Is that what the graph is showing? What is this graph showing me, Molly? Number of moths captured throughout 10 years. If I wanted to get really specific, to tell me exactly what this is telling me, it's the number of light and dark moths captured over 10 years. Where? In Manchester, England. That would be the title, right? So it would be number of moths. You can put light or dark moths captured. Does it tell me the number of moths that are in the forest? No, it just tells me how many are captured. The idea is that if more are captured, that means more are present in the overall population. And then you put Manchester, England right here. Okay? All right, so let's graph this. Now, your independent variable is going to go on the x-axis. Okay? And the way that you calculate how many each one of these lines is worth is you're going to count the number of lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what you'll notice is on the bottom there are 30 lines. If you do the same thing for the top, okay, 1, 2, 3, you'll notice that there are 28 lines. And the way that you figure out what each line should be worth is you take the largest number of your data set, which in this case is 10, and you divide it by the number of lines. So if I want to know what each one of these lines should be worth, right, how much should that line be worth? I take 10 and I divide it by 30. So each line should be about 0.33. Now is where common sense kicks in. Should I make each line be worth 0.33 to where I go, okay, I'm going to go like this. Am I going to do this? 0.33, 0.66, right? Am I going to do that? What should I do? Every 3 lines, put the number what? 1. So, thank you. 1. Okay, you're actually throwing me off, but thank you. Thank you for helping me count to 10. I feel like I'm watching Sesame Street. 1, 2, 3. Who learned to count by watching Sesame Street here? Fantastic. All right. So now we're going to look at the dependent variable, which is going to go on the y-axis. What is the largest number of all the data here, including both of the columns? Yeah, the largest number that I have here is 638. 638 divided by 28 gives me, anybody got a calculator really quick to do that very fast? Who's busting it out? Who's faster than Mr. Vieira? 22 point. Oops. All right, so now let's use our logic. 22.7. Now logic will tell me, right? Shh, guys. Do I want to make it 22 and then like 44, you know, actually it'll be 45 because it's 22.7. Is that smart? What do I want to do to that number? 22. What do I want to make each line worth? Do I want to round up or round down? I always want to round up so that I make sure that I have each line at least be able to cover the highest data point. So I round all the way up to what? What's a good number to round to, guys? 25. Yeah, you want to do either even numbers that are easy to count, or you want to do numbers that are multiples of 5, because that way you can just go 25, 50, 75. Now, am I going to write this 25, 50, 75, 100? What's the problem here, class? Yeah, a lot of numbers. So you know what Mr. Vieira would do? Every 4 I'm going to write. Yeah. Well, if each line is worth 25, what do you think? Right? Now, I could see some students with nice, pretty handwriting doing every 2 lines being worth 50. So they can, in between here, put like 450, 350. Okay. Now, what am I missing? Now that I've numbered, I set up my scale. What do I need to label? X and Y axis. So what am I putting on the X down here? Now, do I write years or what time? This is time, and the units, is it 6 seconds? Is it 6 minutes? Is it 6 months? It's years. So I want to make sure that I understand what my unit is. And then what's my y-axis, my dependent variable? Number of? Yeah, number of moths captured. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 2 lines. The reason why we're not doing a bar graph, okay, I'll wait for your attention. The reason why we're not doing a bar graph is that bar graphs are not a pretty good representation of showing trends over time. What type of graph should I want to use if I want to see how things change over time? A line graph, right? So we're going to plot our dots and then connect the dots using a line graph. So I'm going to first start, and I'm going to pick the color. What is this color right here? What is this color? Is that purple? I don't know. I'm going to do the light-colored moths in whatever color that is. Blue, thank you very much. We're all a parent of Mr. Vieira's handicap. 556. So in year one, so I'm right here. I'm going to go up to 556. There's 500. Okay, guys? I don't want to compete with you guys, right? Thanks. Appreciate it. 525, 550. So 556 is right around there, that data point. So I'm going to plot my first data point. Okay, and I'm going to erase these lines. Right. So there's my data point right there. The next one is going to be 537, year 2. So that's 500, so that's going to be right there. And then, I'll do the 484. Let's do the third one. Okay, for year 3 is 484. So somewhere right there. And you can start to see this line starting to form. So you'd put the rest of the data points. Now, because I'm doing 2 line graphs on each, on one graph, I want a key. So this color right here, that color is going to be my light colored moths. So you need some sort of key to determine. Now I'm going to pick a different color, or maybe you guys would pick, I don't know, maybe you can do maybe a straight line or a dotted line. Now I'm going to do the dark colored moths. Okay, so I'm going to start with the first data point, which is 64 for year 1. So now I'm going to look at year 1, and it's 64. So that's going to be like right around here. What's the second data point, class? 112 is going to be right here. What's year 3? 198, so it's jumping up almost right here. So now we see this trend right here. So you'd continue on, right? And you use that in order to plot your data table into a graph and then answer the analysis questions.